Jolobi House protest. Like, first, let's start with how you got involved in that matter. How do you end up at the Ghana Police Service trying to help out the demonstrators?
Oh, okay. So, as you already know, I work closely with Oliver, who has been my client for a number of years now, and so I heard he was arrested on the day one of the demonstration. Then, so I moved to obviously do what lawyers do when their clients or people are, arrested and detained. So that's how I got into this. And then, as you may know, a couple of people were also arrested. Anyone who actually went to the premises of the demonstration, the marked place for the demonstration, that's 37th area, they were all arrested. So in all, they had about over almost 50 or more people arrested that morning. So I moved to the station. When I got there were other lawyers who, obviously because of their connection or sometimes even because of their interest in defending democracy and the right of people to protest and even right of personal liberty of people. So there were so many other lawyers. One of the lawyers who was there was Honorable Mr. Hussein, a very senior lawyer and a very passionate Democrat so when I got there, he was already there and was, dealing with the police. And there were other younger lawyers who were also there. So when I got there, there were about 15 lawyers on the ground already, all doing their best, trying to secure the release of the persons who were arrested. So that is how that's how it started.
Were the police cooperative on that day?
Well, as far as so there are let's say two groups of people here. So we have the protesters, who obviously the police were not cooperative with, because if they were cooperative with them, they wouldn't have been arrested in the first place. And let me just mention and I'm relying solely on even assuming whatever the police have put out. It's even true. So I'm relying on it. I'm assuming that whatever they themselves have put out on their press releases and statements are true. So by the police story, they said the protesters had notified the police of their intention to demonstrate. And you know very well, to demonstrate, you need to notify the police, indicating the number of people you expect to attend the protest venue and the route, and all those other particulars that the police will need to make a decision how to protect the protesters and also how to ensure that there is public order during the protest. And so the usual thing is that after the notification, the police will invite the protesters and then they will have a conversation on how to offer the best form of protection to the protesters and also the public. So the police have been having that conversation with the occupied Jolobi House protesters for weeks. Then, on the eve of the demonstration, the police issued a press statement, and in their press statement, they basically said, one, that they had filed an application for an injunction in the court against the protest. That's the first point, and that they have served the application, the notice of the application on the protesters. And then they went on to tell the protesters to not, show up at the venue of the protest, and also called on the general public not to cooperate with the protesters. So this is what raised the eyebrows of everyone who was interested in the matter. First of all, the protesters have been dealing with the police for weeks. So it means that if there was any genuine need to suspend or stop the protest or to take any legal action to stop the protest, would have been done earlier. That is point one. Point two is that why would you sit down for people to plan a protest, and it takes a lot to plan protest because these are people who have made, arrangements for ambulances. They've made arrangements for food. They've made arrangements for water. They've made arrangements for wardens and marshals and all the things that. And this is a well-organized protest with medical assistants, lawyers on standby and everything, only for you to come on the eve of the protest to, just issue a press statement. Now, clearly, these protesters have also counted that they've never been served with anything. And then the police came on again to say they didn't serve the protesters, the conveners directly, they served their lawyers. Now, the lawyers also came and said, well, we have not been served with anything. It came out later that the police went to the law firm and left whatever process it is. They wanted to serve a lady. Obviously, the lady is not a lawyer, neither is the lady authorized to accept the process. So it came out that the process was not actually served. Service was not done. Now, the protest had started. It didn't start. Once the people arrived at the place, the police picked them up. So that is the first form of confrontation. The police were not cooperating with the organizers of the protest. And so it became chaotic, and then they had to do the arrest and all that. When we got to the station, the headquarters, we saw a mass of people. They have massed up in front of the headquarters, asking the police to release the people so the protest is going to. In a way, the police headquarters became another venue for the protest because they were now drumming, singing, and chanting over there. Over there was an altercation between the police and the protesters where they made further arrests. They arrested, and as we saw in some of the videos, they were assaulted, some were beaten up, and all that. So that happened. Now, so that's one form of non-cooperation from the police. As for lawyers, we, on our side, there was, initially there wasn't cooperation because the police thought they could do what they wish to do, but we had a meeting with them, and through the meeting, common sense prevailed, and of course, law prevailed, and we took the particulars of the people who were arrested and the various police stations that they were distributed to, and then so we continued to engage with the police. Eventually, as you may know, at the end of the day, I believe they saw reason, and they saw that what they did was not lawful. So they had to find a way of, discharging, releasing all the persons they arrested that night, and without any effort to process them to any other court or anything. So that was how the one ended. And so in terms of cooperation, this is what happened.
So they were never charged?
No. They were cautioned. They were cautioned. The whole thing was chaotic and the time was short. So as I speak with you, some of them were cautioned. Some of them, they took statements from some of them, what we call caution statements, but there was no charge as far as the last time I checked, there was no formal charge for them. On them, they have not been charged.
Because when the statement the police issued after the arrest was that they arrested 49 suspects for unlawful assembly and violation of Public Order Act. Mm-hmm. That didn't come up?
That was the caution. So, okay, let me explain. When the police arrest, usually they will do two things. They take two statements. Okay, the first thing is to caution you that you are a subject of investigation in respect of these particular offenses. So that is caution. So that is where they tell you that you have the right to remain silent and everything you say or do may be taken down and used as evidence against you in a law court. So that is like the caution. So in the caution, they will mention that they are investigating you because of in suspicion of this particular crime. So I think that is what the police communicated in their publication. Now, apart from the caution, they need to formally charge you. So charging you is another process, the details of which may not be necessary for this conversation, but that was not formally done, so that was how it ended.
The police say in their statement that the arrest was for the flagrant disregard of the court process served on the organizers of the Democracy App. You say there was no proof of that service, that service was not made. Even if the service was made, as the lawyer of the demonstrators, would that essentially have stopped the demonstrators from deciding to go ahead?
No, I mean, the police, they are very much aware that, and when we had a conversation, they were very much aware. I mean, the police, they have lawyers. They have lawyers like all of us. So it wasn't as if they were ignorant of the position of the law on these issues. So they are very much aware that, one, even if you have served them properly, okay, if you have served them properly, and they disregard the service or what, I mean, service, as we know, service itself sometimes is not considered as injunctive. The fact that you serve me with a note to that you are filed an injunction, we know that in some cases it is not considered as injunctive. You need to get the order. So that is one. And even if you interpret the service to mean you shouldn't do what you are supposed to do, the resolution of that matter does not lie in the hands of the police, because the police, all they need to do is to make sure that they cite the person for contempt, and the court will enforce it. The police cannot by themselves, and without any court involvement, decide that someone has breached the law and then go ahead and enforce what they are thinking is. You know, if once you do that, then it becomes a question of, it's not even a question, then it becomes a jungle issue where you the police, you have no judicial authority to commit anyone to anything, and then just arrest people and on the grounds that you believe that they have breached some law. So it's just like all of us. The fact, if I see you commit a crime or do anything, I don't have what it takes to enforce any law. I need to follow some procedures, right? The police didn't seem to follow any of those procedures. Yes, they interfered with the liberties of the persons and their rights, and did what they did, you know. So, and I've not yet heard any police communication which insists that they did what they did was law.
In fact, there's a statement they issued on 22nd September. I think that's a Friday. They issued this statement, and the heading is "Police Meet Some Leaders of the Democracy Hub Group." Were you part of that meeting?
No. So this is the I was not part, and they met some of the people, some of the Democracy Hub officials. The meeting lasted for about 40 minutes, and the reason why the Democrats, some of the people were sent there, was just to hear from the IGP his personal position on what transpired and what he feels about what happened the previous day. The meeting was not to have any agreement, any discussion, or any form of anything with the IGP. And indeed, when the delegates who went to the meeting came, we briefed them. They told us, yes, they duly carried our instructions, basically listening to the IGP side. And the IGP appeared to be remorseful of some of the things that happened, in the sense that he seemed to understand that the police did not comply with the law. You know, so we were particularly shocked that the IGP, the police will issue a statement which suggested that there was some form of agreement not to continue with the protest. And I think I read that statement. There was part of it which said the conveners have agreed not to continue with the protest, right? You have the statement before you.
Yes, I'm looking at the statement. In fact, the statement suggested that there were some agreements.
Yeah, there was no agreement. And as you can see, the protest continued as if there was no meeting with the IGP, because that was the full plan that, look, the officers on the ground have done some things which were not in accordance with law and due process. Now, the convenience, and Oliver was not at that meeting either. So it couldn't be, there couldn't be any form of discussion in terms of agreement and decision making, because all the protesters wanted was to find out personally what is the IGP personally as the head of the police organization, having been brief of what happened the previous day. What is his personal position on the matter? And his personal position was he seemed to agree that the police did not comply with the due process. So the statement came as a shock, and this has been the behavior of the police throughout this. They keep issuing statements which are completely far from the truth or the fact. And I don't know what the police service benefits from such behavior that consistently they put out information which is not in line with what the facts are. So when we saw the statement, we were wondering. We said, well, if there was an agreement, let's see how they will enforce that agreement. So the protest went on according to law, and for the rest of the day, nothing stopped the protest, and neither did the police make any effort to try to to stop the protest. That's to tell you that there was no such agreement. They knew there was no such agreement.
Now, aside that, the matter of the protest going on, there's one issue that's still outstanding, because I just spoke to one of the members of the Democracy Hub who told me that they were assaulted. But this is what the police say, paragraph 5. It was established at the meeting that there's no evidence or reported case of assault against the demonstrators according to police records. Therefore, anyone with evidence to the contrary should provide it for investigations.
Yeah, that is another disingenuous statement from the police. And it baffles me. I always get off when officials, you see, a police organization is a serious organization, right? And you want to be taken seriously as a police officer, or you are IGP, or you are authority. Okay? And if you want to be taken seriously, one of the first things you need to do is to be factual. And that way, then you respect your office and you respect yourself, okay? On what basis would the police, this is the statement, there is no evidence of any assault. What kind of police service do we have that even the general public saw people being beaten on video right at the police premises? People saw people who were granting interviews to journalists whisked away forcefully and put into a bag. People saw people who have been, restrained, dumped in a bag, and the people were complaining and made live videos. So for a police organization to come up and say that there is no evidence of assault, what kind of police service is this? What kind of leadership is this police service having that even in glaring evidence of people who do not have any skill or any understanding of the rules of evidence, who have no training in gathering evidence and investigation, are able to see assault, beating, harassment, molestation? Yet the police, the police service, which is paid with the taxpayers' money to gather evidence, to investigate crime and to prosecute people based on evidence, is saying that they have no evidence of an assault. I mean, how disingenuous could an organization be? And these are some of the problems that we keep talking about our policing. Okay? This is one of the problems, is that this deception has become the stock in trade of the police service. And it should never be so. It should never be so that a whole police service would employ deception of the public. Even in the seat of evidence, they are saying that there's no evidence of that. In any case, like I said, that meeting was not to gather evidence. That meeting was not to prove anything. That meeting was the IGP who said he wanted to meet the conveners. Even that the top hierarchy of the conveners said that they are not interested in meeting an IGP who will instruct police to go and lie that they have served them and that. So they are not interested in meeting. So they delegated other people to meet them. And the instruction was clear that, look, the meeting is just to see what he would say, what the IGP has to do, or his opinion on this whole thing. So for them to come up and make things like you don't have evidence, I mean, that should tell everybody, the public, that the police is not of any high, the integrity which they ought to have is not exactly what they are presenting. You see? So, I mean, what do they mean by if the public have any evidence, you submit it? So they who deployed officers who are doing those things, they don't know how to record, or they don't know evidence. So someone should bring the evidence.
Did you witness any assault yourself?
When I got there, Well, what I consider assault, assault, look, let me tell you what assault is. Anyone who touches you in a circumstance which shows that you do not consent to be attached, no matter how, feeble, is an assault. So the only way the police would touch you is when they inform you that they are arresting you, and for what you are being arrested. That is anything apart from that is an assault. Apart from that, when I got there, I saw the police preventing people, restraining. I mean, when I got there, this journalist from Metro TV, her dress was torn, and it was done by the police. And I saw the video. So personally, when I got there, the police had calmed down, and there was clear separation between the police. So personally, I've not seen anything, but I had a meeting with the police official, and the police told me what happened. People's phones were seized. Those phones were given back to them right in front of me. Some of the people were arrested and put in jail, including a lawyer. We went there to secure the release of that lawyer. So it wasn't as if nothing happened and everything was as they are saying. Why are all these things? Why would they see someone's phone? Why would they arrest people and put them behind bars? These are not people who were. So you arrested the demonstrators at 37. So if there was no assault again, what were you doing with people's phones who were gathered in front of the police headquarters? So it is a different thing if you think that you have assaulted them, but you think that the assault was done in accordance with law. Then that becomes the issue whether the assault was done in accordance or the assault was done with some. But if you say that you have no evidence of assault, what are you trying to tell the public? Take the public for what?
There's this message there's this comment on our Facebook feed. This is George Dixon. He says they have to sue the police institution. Is this something you're considering?
It's on the table. It's on the table, and we are considering taking actions. We are not even thinking of suing the police in Ghana at this point. There are several international human rights organizations which are interested in this matter. Okay, and Ghana is a signatory to many of the international human rights protection organizations which have courts and enforcement bodies. That is what we are even thinking about now, because we believe that there's a meaning to Ghana's signing up to some of these international human rights agreements and international law. That is what we are even thinking, because clearly these police, what they have written shows that they are not ready to even be punished for anything to happen. They are not ready to face facts. They are not ready to follow due process. They are not ready to comply. And we know how the police can do a lot of things and have their way in this country. So we are not even focusing on, for now, our thought is not even on what's doing the police in this country.
And let me then conclude by asking you, on the matter of the protest, what happened, the police involvement, and how the protest concluded. It seems everything went smoothly. Do you still have any reservations? Day 2, day 3?
Let's not forget. Look, the purpose of the protest was to protest in front of the premises of the Jubilee. Okay, that didn't happen. So, as far as the purpose of the protest is concerned, it has not been achieved at all. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
The purpose of the protest is to occupy the premises of the frontage of the Jubilee House. And so that didn't happen. So as far as the protesters or conveners are concerned, when we spoke with them, when we spoke with the conveners, as their lawyers, they were clear that the protest was a failure.
But the police insist that that's a security zone.
So, you see, that is, the police don't determine where someone can go and where someone cannot go. It is the law that determines where someone can go and where someone. What is security zone? Which law says that if people cannot go to, to, to picket in front of a presidential residence or palace. So that is their claim. They are alleging that first, this is the allegation they are making. They are alleging that that place is a security zone. That must be tested. That is one. Two, they are alleging that if a place is a security zone, then protesters cannot go there. That is the second claim. That must be tested. You know, we need to understand that this is a country of law. Okay? It's a country of law with rights, duties, privileges, guarantees, and entrenched in law. It is not for individuals to stay as they wish. And then, haven't you seen people protest in front of Jubilee House? And is Jubilee House the only place for presidents? Other countries, go to the White House. Don't they protest there? Is the Jubilee House more of a security zone than any other place that presidents live? So some of these things, they say it every day, and they make it look like it is. Then because no one is actually questioning them, it makes it look like it's acceptable. Nobody, the police do not have, they don't have the final say as to what is law in this country.
But
if a court says that security zones and mark all security zones and says that people cannot go there, in any case, if they are sure, you see, if they are sure and they are sure that it's a security zone and nobody can go there, that is why they were notified how many weeks ahead. If they know, if they believe in what they are saying, why didn't they just go to court from day one that where these people want to come is a security zone? Why did they wait till the that should tell you that they do not have any honest belief in that claim that the place picketing cannot happen in front of Flagstaff House. That should tell you that they know. If it is a straightforward issue that is a national security zone, it's a security zone, so nobody should go there. The moment they serve them with the notice of demonstration, they should have just written back to tell them that it's a security zone, so they are going to court, and then for the court to restrain them. So they know what they are doing, and they know they do not have the finances. That is why they themselves filed an application in the court.
then, having said that, do you think the police service, the use of the Public Order Act by the police service, has been done in a manner that does not infringe on the right to protest?
What they have done is a clear violation of several rights that have been guaranteed. Okay. The clear violation of several rights. The right to assemble, the right to freedom of expression, the right to personal liberty, freedom of speech, non-discrimination, several rights, equality before the law. These are all administrative justice. These are all rights that are implicated in what they have done. Okay. They have not in any way enforced the Public Order Act. They have breached it in so many ways. And I believe they know. And I believe the police know that they have breached the Public Order Act, which is supposed to be their tool of work when it comes to demonstrations. They have breached it.
Thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome. Have a great day, my brother.
You too. Lawyer Justice Srem Sai is a private legal practitioner, has been